Yeah, live.
Hello, my lovelies. How are you all? Sorry, I'm all the way over here. Hopefully Drew's got it. Just rethreading my machine. I still had a bright colour in it, so I thought I would do this, and I thought I had more time. How are you all? Happy Wednesday. Hopefully you're all okay. All done. Coming back over here now. Got Drew today. Drew's got a day off, so he's filming for us today. We haven't had our Drew for a little while, have we? So Drew's doing the filming today, so hopefully you're all okay, everyone's all right. It's a manky, horrible, miserable, drizzly old day out there today. Proper wintry and yucky, really is. So yeah, hopefully this, we can do a little bit of sewing and cheer you all up. Because I need cheering up, because it's bleh, bleh out there. Don't want to do it. Don't want to go outside, don't want to do anything today. It's horrible out there. Cool. How are you all? Who's coming online, Drew?
We've got Eileen, we've got Ali, Jean, Carolyn, Linda.
Oh, hi everybody. How lovely.
Sian.
Lovely. Hi everyone. Oh, Sian's there as well, is she? Hi, Sian. Cool. So we're gonna do block of the week. It's Wednesday, so of course we're gonna do block of the week. But I thought I'd show you some new bits that came in. These are, so we had some pre-cuts, jelly rolls, layer cakes in these back as an early release about 3 or 4 months ago, but the boltage is coming now. Oh my god, and I've used it for the block of the week as well, so you'll get to see it all. It's so lush. I love it. It's who loves Janet Clare? I do. I think her designs are fabulous. I love her colour palette as well, and it's the Janet Clare blues, which, like I said, we did have some just layer. I think we only had 4 layer cakes and 4 jelly rolls in, but we've got it all on the bolts now. So this is delicious. It's called the Blues because it's based on music this time. I don't know if you can see this one. It looks like the score, you know, like a music score, but it's also got like an oceany feel to it as well. Let me get my water out the way. I nearly spilled that all over the fabric then. I love this. I absolutely love it. There's that one as well, which I think is just the best blue. I love it. It's my favourites. I think she's one of my favourite designers. That's gorgeous. I love that. We've got a little cream on white. Drew's having to work hard on this because I'm getting tall today. The pile's going up, and it's like what are they called? It's not a treble clef. That's the curly one. What's it called on a music thing when you've got like the little hashtag? There's a name for it. It's not a hashtag, is it? When music, it's something else.
Well, I should know that.
Can't remember what it is. Didn't you do GCSE music? There's that one, which is the darker version of the other one. And then we've got the cream with the little, it's like little crotchets and quavers and all over it, all randomly scattered, which is beautiful. And then we've got the navy, which is just delicious. If you like the Moda Red solid, this is the navy one, which is not totally solid. Hang on, let me see if I get the... It's not totally solid. It's got the gentlest sort of distressed finish to it, but it's just, oh, I just love her designs. I really do. So these will be going onto the website later on today. So if you bought the layer cake or the jelly roll and you don't know what to do with it, you wanted boltage to maybe do sashing or something, these are now in stock. Or if you weren't able, well, you weren't quick enough to get the jelly rolls or the layer cakes, you can cut your own. You can cut your own now. So, who's there, Drew? Who's saying hello? Anybody? Anybody commenting?
Suzanne. It's the shut up, apparently.
It's what?
The shut up.
The shut.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. Simple.
Fab. Anyone else
no,
there?
We've just got people saying hello. We've got Grace who's joined us.
Hi, Grace.
We've got Liz, Carolyn.
Hi, Liz. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, everybody. Lovely. So, we're going to do 2 blocks today because they're both very simple blocks. One's very traditional and one's much more modern. But these were ones that I went down a rabbit hole. I went down an absolute rabbit hole. So I started looking up honey bun patterns, and there's hundreds out there, absolutely hundreds out there. So I crawled back out of the rabbit hole and was like, right, stop. Because otherwise I could do this one, I could do that one, I could do this one. I got very overexcited. And I thought, actually, no, let's go back to some one traditional block and then one much more modern block which are quick and easy to do. So anybody, if you can show a straight line, you can do these blocks. They're not overly complicated ones at all. But they look fantastic, and they make amazing secondary patterns as well. They make some really wonderful secondary patterns. So we're going to have a look at these two. We're going to have a look at a half log cabin, which I don't think we've done before. I know we've done full log cabin, but I don't think we've done half log cabin. And this is very traditional, but again, it's using, rather than big thick blocks or jelly roll strips, which are 2.5, these are using honey buns. So this is 1.5 inch strips. Now, I didn't want to have to open up one of those honey buns just to do a couple of little samples. So I cut myself just 2 little strips off all of those bolts to have a play with. 2 little 1.5 inch strips off the meterage, and done these. So we're going to do a half log cabin, which is actually this block, which you can do you can turn and do in lots of different ways and create all sorts of patterns. And then we're going to do this really like I can extend it. Well, it's not a rail fence, because a rail fence goes that way and that way. It didn't actually have a name. There was just a picture of it. And I just thought this would be a really good way of playing around with colours. If you split your honey bun into lights and darks, it doesn't matter on the patterns or the colours. If you just do it in lights and darks, you would get these lovely graduations. And it's strip piecing as well, so it's incredibly quick. But I think it would be really beautiful as like as a more modern quilt, something a little bit more abstract and not necessarily as traditional as the log cabin. Okay, so we're going to start with the traditional. Okay, and we've got lots of newbies as well, lots of new people joining us. So I thought we'd go back and touch on something. I know we've done a full log cabin before where you go lights and darks, but I don't think we've done this half one. Let me know if I'm wrong. We've done so many of them now. My brain can't quite remember everything we've done. So you want to start with a square. This one here. Okay, so if you are going to use a honey bun, okay, all of these bits will be ready cut for you because they're 1.5 inches. I know we did a cheats log cabin. We're not going to do cheats. We're actually going to cut these, okay? But you could start with any size square that you want. You could start with a little tiny 1.5 inch square and work your way up, or you could go bigger. Okay, I chose to go bigger purely for quickness. Okay, but you could start really little and have this really beautiful graduation of colours. So I've just muddled up all my bits now. That's for the second block. There we go. And then I chose 3 colours from those new Janet Claire's, and I went with a light and a medium and a darker one. Okay, because again, I was thinking about colour graduation and things. I'm going to start with a little 4 inch square like this. Okay, and I'm going to start with my lightest on the inside. You could do it the other way around, but I would maybe, if you're using a honey bun for this, I'd open my honey bun up just like a jelly roll and maybe put them in colour graduation. So start with all your lights, go through to your mediums and through to your darks. Okay, wouldn't worry too much about colours. I would think about take that black and white photo that we've talked about before. So lay them out, take that black and white photo and see where your tonal differences are. So if they all start to sort of merge into one, they're the same tone. So put them into your light tones, your mediums, and then your dark tones. This could also be done really scrappy. You could actually just go through your scrap fabrics and cut lots and lots of 1.5 inch strips out of it. So I've got a 4 inch square to start with. So I'm going to cut myself a 4 inch piece off this strip. So just get rid of the salvage on the very end, like this. So talk to me, ladies, just when I'm doing this bit of cutting. Anybody there, Drew? Anybody having a chat?
Jean asked, can you do it with a charm pack?
You could put a charm pack, so a 5 inch square, and then just use your honey buns. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that might be really quite nice actually, and it would give you a nice space to quilt into as well if you wanted to. Okay, and then I want, because this is 4 inches to start with, I want a 4 inch piece. So I'm going to cut a piece off like that. Okay.
Jackie White says she's new to this. What's a honey bun?
Oh, a honey bun is a pre-cut. I was showing them on Monday. So if you go back to Mondays, it's a pre-cut roll, like a jelly roll, which is 2.5 inch strips. So you get 42 strips in the roll. I should have brought one over with me and I forgot to, sorry. So it's like a jelly roll, which is 2.5 inch strips by width of fabric. A honey bun is 1.5 inch strips by width of fabric. And it's, it means you can get sort of slightly more You've got less fabric, but they're lot cheaper. But there's lots of patterns out there for you, and we're just going to have a play with a few. Okay, have a look on our website. We put some honey buns on there the other day. But yeah, it's 1.5 inch strips by width of fabric, and there'll be 42 in each roll. And it's all from the same design range, so you know they're designed to go together.
Didn't charge the gimbal.
It didn't charge?
No.
Oh. We run out. Are we going to have to halt? Okay. Right, well, Drew, if you just put it on the sewing machine a minute and then run and get can you run it while it's charging?
I think so.
Yeah. Drew's going to go and run and get a charger. It was on charge all night. I don't know why that didn't work. Don't know. So we're going to put this one, which is the 4.5 inch strip by 1.5, right sides together with my 4 inch, not 4.5, ignore me. 4 inch by 1.5 on my 4 inch square. And I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance throughout. Okay, I'm just going to whip down this. I don't know if he's put that camera in the right place. If not, have a look at my isolation quilt. I finally put all the blocks together during the Christmas break, which was really nice actually. Haven't quilted it yet, mind. So just stitch down on 1/4 inch, and hang on, I've just got to plug the iron in as well. That's not plugged in either. I'm not very organised today. Don't know why. I had plenty of time. So put my iron on as well, and we're going to iron it out. And when you're ironing these out, you want to iron them out towards the strips each time, okay? Rather than inwards, iron them out outwards, okay? So iron that one out like that. There we go. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to measure across this top piece here. Okay. So we're going to. You all right, Drew?
Yeah.
He's just fiddling a minute, ladies. You're just going to have to put up with the randomness. Okay. So that now measures 5 inches. So I'm going to cut a piece that's 5 inches to go across here. Okay. Hopefully that'll charge now. If not, Drew's going to have to hold the phone. I had that on all night as well. Tech, eh? It's always plays up when you don't want it to. So I'm going to cut a 5 inch strip off this one. Now, if you were making lots of blocks, obviously I'm just doing one now, but if you were going to make lots of blocks, you could cut lots of these, so you've just got them in little piles. And this one is going to go along here, okay, like that. So I'm going to just stitch down 1/4 inch, and we're just going to work down one side of this square, okay? Making sense to everybody so far, hopefully. I'm going to stitch down 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go back over to the sewing machine. Drew's going to follow me, hopefully. Remove my water out of the way. Hopefully this is now charging and it's working. Don't know why that cable didn't work. Maybe that's why it was in the back of a drawer when I found it last night. Maybe the cable's knackered. And again, we're going to iron out towards the strip, okay? You could add on as many strips as you want. I've chosen just to do 3, but you could add on 5, 6, 7, whatever, okay? So you've got something that looks a little bit like that. We're now going to come back down to this one. So we know that one's going to be 5 now. So my next colour, I want 5. And basically, because these are 1.5 inches in how the 1/4 inch works, it's going to be 1 inch bigger each time. So I started with 4. I'm going to go, my next strips are going to be 5. My next size strips will be 6, etc, etc. So this one's going to go on like this, okay? Back over I go. Stitch that one on. Ooh, make sure it's in the right place. Like that. Put down it. And this is quick, okay? This type of half log cabin is really quick, particularly if you're going to make lots of the blocks and you do all this cutting beforehand, okay? There is a pattern for a half log cabin that uses a jelly roll on our website. But you could adapt it for a honey bun really nice and easily. So this one now is going to be 6. Okay, I'm just going up 1 inch each time I put a strip on. Okay, so this one's going to be 6 like that. You could do the cheats way if you wanted to, which if you look back on our YouTube channel, there's a whole tutorial on cheats log cabin. This one's...
Fiona asked, can't you sew the strip on after you cut it?
Yes,
after, sorry.
But before you cut it or after you cut it?
She said, can you sew the strip on and cut it after?
Yes, you can. You could absolutely. You could sew it on like that, and then trim down. It's less accurate doing it that way, but that's the cheats method. We did a whole tutorial on that, and it is really, really quick. But I just thought I'd do it the traditional way because we're doing a traditional block today, because I don't think we've done that. But yes, you could definitely do that. It isn't quite as accurate, and you do have to square up in between, particularly if you're doing lots of strips, because they start to get a little bit wonky. But you can do it. Be quite gentle, because they're only 1.5 inches as well, which are obviously then going down to 1 inch once you've sewn them. Be quite gentle with your pressing as well. You know, just gently press, because it's easy for them to stretch out a shape because they're so narrow. And then my last one, which is this bit piece here, it's going to go on here. So I know that that's a 6, and then this one's going to be a 7. So I'm going to cut both of those now. So this is going to be a 6 inch. So just line my rule up. I'm just using my horizontal along the edge of the strip. That down there. Don't move it. There we go. There's my 6, and I know the next one's going to be a 7 because I'm adding 1 inch on with each side. Okay. There's my 7. And I'm going to pop those 2 on, and on this side and then this side. Okay. And back over I go. And like I said, you could add lots and lots of strips on. I've only put 3 on, but you could just keep going. You know, you could make really big blocks, you know, and put double this on, or, you know, triple this on. It's a really simple but very, very effective block, and you can make all sorts of secondary patterns happen, especially if you really think about your colours and do that you get like almost an undulating type pattern if you go light, you know, lights to darks with everything. It plays around with sort of light and colour and things, which is nice. Any other questions there, Drew?
No, Fiona says thanks.
That's okay. No?
That's right. Lindsay said, can I ask what's being made, because she was late.
Oh, we're doing 2 blocks today. So we've got 2 block of the weeks. We're doing a half log cabin to start with, and then I'm going to show you a little bit strip piece in. But it was honey bun patterns, which are the 1.5. Ow, that's really hot. 1.5 inch strips that I've shown you on Monday that I thought were quite interesting. So that's a quarter of the block done already. It could be a block in its own right. It can absolutely just be a block in its own right. And you can do all sorts of things with them. You could just make lots and lots like this. If I just fold this one up. And you can put them into layers, into rows like that, you know, all going the same way. And you kind of get like a attic window type effect with all the darks being on the outside. So you can do rows and rows of that. And it almost looks like it's kind of... what's the word? If you do it the other way around, so if this was dark and goes up to light, they almost look like little like black holes, like it's an illusion. It goes down dark because you're graduating in colour. You can do it like this, where you turn them all in. Okay. You can do it where you turn them all, you know, opposite ways like this, you know, which again makes some really nice, interesting secondary patterns. You can have them all turned in to the centre. But to be honest, if I was going to do that, I probably would just do a bigger square and do a bigger block, because you haven't got to match all these seams. But, you know, you can really play around with them. Put lots more strips on, you know, keep going with your strips and go like that. So the log cabin block is it's really quite versatile. There's lots and lots of things you can do with it. There's nothing stopping you altering the block. You know, once you've kind of done something like that, you know, try altering the block. You know, put on, you know, like a snowboard corner or something onto it, and then put those together. Maybe do this as not the same colour, maybe a different colour, but put a little altered corner onto it, and then start putting things together, because then you'd get all extra, like you'd have like diamonds and all happening. So lots of things you can do with that, but in the easiest, most simple way is just adding those strips and then joining all the blocks together like that. Okay, and you make lots of these and you put them all together and make a really nice, interesting quilt. Okay, so that was like my traditional one that I quite liked. I do like a log cabin. It's one of my faves. I make it a lot. It's such a versatile block. And then I quite liked this one. Now this is incredibly simple, and it's done with strip piecing, but I think it's quite modern. It's got quite a modern feel to it. you could also do this as like a postage stamp quilt as well. So if you've ever seen those amazing postage stamp quilts, which are really, really tiny little squares, this would be a way of doing it with a honey bun. So what I did is I chose 4 colours, but you could choose lots of colours. But I would pair them up. If I was doing this one, I'd pair them up into one light, one dark, or one light medium and one dark medium. Have a little bit of contrast either in colour or tone with them. Okay. Everybody's still with me. I feel like I'm just blaring today. Chattering. Everybody okay? Everybody with me?
Karen's just asked, could you at the same time show how to make the diamond block without using diamond ruler and not making Y seams?
Oh, yes. I totally forgot about that. I promise I will do that on... I can't... no, I haven't got the stuff to with me to do it. I might be able to. Let me finish this and let me work out if I've got some bits lying around to do the diamond block with the without Y seams, did you say, or with Y seams?
And not making Y seams.
Not making Y seams. You can't really do diamonds without Y seams. There is a way of doing it, but you end up with a middle seam, which I think ruins it. But I can show you how to do Y seams in a moment. Yeah, give me a second. I'll see if I can find something to do that. Let's do this one first, okay? And then I'll come back to that one. So, right, chosen lights and darks, okay? And I've got my 1.5 inch strips. So this is how long one of your honey bun strips would be. That's the width of fabric, okay? And it's 1.5 wide. You're just going to put them right sides together and we're going to stitch all the way down the long edge, okay? I wouldn't pin, I'm not a pinner. I wouldn't pin this because you've actually got a lot more flexibility of matching it up without pinning it, okay? So we're going to go back over to the machine and I'm just going to take a couple little stitches at the start, and this is strip piecing basically. This is how you do seminal quilting. It's a lot of strip piecing. What else is there that uses? We've done quite a few tutorials on strip piecing actually. Quite a few tutorials. Right, so I'm just going to go down and I'm just going to adjust it as I go. So I'm going to do a small amount and then just make sure that those lines are back together. Do another little bit. You can kind of whiz down that section, realign down. Okay, so I'm just going to go all the way down this strip. It's again nice and quick. Any questions there? Just while I'm doing this, Drew.
No. Lindsay just says I'm still here. Just making the rabbit comforter yesterday.
Ah, nice. Oh, Lesh, I'm glad you had a go at it. There we go. Readjust. It's a lot easier if you haven't got pins, just to get this, nice and precise. I find anyway, just by readjusting it. If you put pins in, it tends to warp them because they're so narrow. Fine if you're doing smaller pieces, but if you're doing long pieces like this, I think it's just easier to do it this way. Oh, I've got a long thread somewhere following me. Any other questions or comments there?
Catherine says, thanks for the honey bun ideas. Mine arrived today. Can't wait to give it a go.
Ah, go for it. Yeah, it's a nice size strip to work with actually. It's not something I've really played with, but yeah, surprisingly easy to handle. I thought it was going to be a lot stretchier and stuff because they're so narrow. But let's I'm going to just iron this out to the darker fabric. Okay, again, just be a little bit gentle with you. You could use some starch on this, put some starch savvy on. That would help with making sure it doesn't stretch because it is narrow. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down. This block that we're doing now was actually on, it was like a free tutorial thing on the Moda website when I was going down my rabbit hole of lots and lots of honey bun things. But I just liked the idea that you could really play around with your sizing and stuff on this. Now this is where you can make a design decision. Okay, you can decide on what size you want your little rectangles to be. Okay, I went with 3.5 because I quite liked the fact they were slightly longer than what the width. But you could do You could do really long ones. You could vary them. You could really play around with this and start with narrow ones and then do a row, you know, like with this. You could start with like a bit like a bargello, start with some narrow ones and then go up a little bit and then have some long ones, go back to some narrow ones and all. It's something you could play around with. But I'm just going to cut a couple of 3.5, which is what I did on the other one, just so that you guys can kind of see where we are with this. So I'm just going to cut a 3.5 there, and I'm using that center seam on the root, line it up with my ruler along there, so that I know that it's nice and parallel, this line to this one. Okay, don't try and do top and bottom, because if you have got any stretch or anything, it could be that you end up cutting them a bit wonky. So I'm just going to cut a few off this. Make sure that center seam's along a horizontal line, and along we go. Just cut a few off this one. Any other questions there, just when I'm doing this?
No.
No? Okay, so you could do as many strip sets like this as you want, and as many different colorways, and then all I did was just vary them. So I've gone dark light, like that. Oh, come off. I didn't want to come off there. Dark light. And then my other set, I did it the other way around. Light, dark, light, dark. So you're playing around with those colours and playing around with the tones of it. Okay, like that. Really, really nice and easy, but very effective when you start putting all the rows together. And you could make nice big blocks, you know. This was, again, just a little sample piece, but you could make some nice big blocks. You could graduate your colours. So if you look at your honey bun and go, right, okay, it goes from all really dark colours. So start with like sort of your navies and all in one colour, go through to your greens or whatever it is in your one, you know, right the way through to your reds or something. So you could play around with that as well. I think that would look really good. And it's a really modern pattern. It's something a little bit different, a little bit more abstract. But what I thought would be really good with this strip set is it's a cheats way of doing postage stamp quilts. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen postage stamp quilts. They're little tiny 1 inch squares and painstakingly put together. But they're a riot of colour. You know, they're normally done with lots and lots of scraps, and they're all little 1 inch squares. So because these end up being 1 inch wide this way, you could put your strips together, okay, so lots and lots of colours from your honey bun or from your scraps, whatever, lots and lots of strips together. And then if you cut them at 1.5 inches that way, okay, so if I cut them this way, like that, and cut them at 1.5 and 1.5, and cut lots and lots of 1.5s, okay, and I would just have all these in a pile. And you just keep going. Obviously, this isn't going to be looking quite the riot of colour because I've only used 2 strips with this. But you could do all your strips together, cut them all up into 1.5, put them in a massive pile because it should be really random. And then you could just sew these back together in little pairs. Okay. You could do 3 or 4 strips together and cut longer strips and then just turn them and mix them up. And what you would get is like a postage stamp quilt. Okay. So I'll sew these together just quickly so you can see they end up as little 1 inch squares. You don't have to do a quilt. You could do a pillow to start with just to get the idea. But I've always loved a postage stamp looking pattern, but I've never had the patience to do it. Frankly, it's very, very time consuming. But doing it this way would be so much quicker because you've got your strips ready cut and you just strip piece them. So I'm going to take these over to the sewing machine and do these. Anybody having a chat there? Are you all very quiet today? Is anybody there having a chat?
Yeah, Sandy has the quilt behind you. Is there a pattern?
This is the isolation quilt. If you go back to the beginning of our 1 o'clocks, they are all on YouTube as well. We did a block of the week. Sometimes we did 2 blocks a week right back at the beginning. And it's a lot of the ladies who joined us right back in March time. They in fact, actually, if you go on the Gigglers page, you might see some of the isolation quilts. Or ladies, if you could post your ones. I know some of you have actually finished them. And we did a block every week. They are all ready for download. Each block is on our website as digital downloads, and you can just download the ones you want to make. But that was basically all of the ones we did. I think it was like 46 blocks or something like that. I did extras as well because I was making obviously one as a sample and then one as a demo, so there are some doubles in there. But you can, yeah, they are all available. All individual blocks are available. I think they're £2 a download. Just choose the ones you like, start sewing and go for it, you know. But I'm sure the ladies on the Gigglers page, our social page, will post some pictures so you can see their versions. So Drew's snaffled this one because he did all our filming for us before he found a job. So he's having this one, and this is all Janet Clare fabrics as well. Actually, this was her previous range that I did it all in because and he snaffled it. Once it's quilted, it's his. Any other questions there?
Fiona asked, what was Bargello?
Bargello quilt is it's a style of quilting. We did a Zoom class on it a little while ago. I haven't. It's upstairs, I think. My big Bargello quilt. It's a way. It kind of you sew in strips and you cut it at different angles, and you end up with these like lovely sort of undulating waves through the quilts. And you can, if you Google a Bargello, B-A-R, it might be Bargello. I think it's one of those either things. B-A-R-G-E-L-L-O. There's thousands of patterns out there. Okay, so you can see you get tiny little, by cutting them at 1.5, you then, when you sew them together, you get tiny little pieces, which would make a perfect postage stamp. Probably just a cushion to start with. I'm not sure I'd do a whole quilt, but really easy way of doing it using a honey bun, because they are now the size of a postage stamp. Which, if I just iron this out for you, you can see they end up being, obviously once I've done this top piece as well, they end up being 1 inch square, which is a really interesting effect. It's really, really nice. It looks painstaking, but it's lovely. I do like postage stamp quilts. So that was just a couple of ideas of how to use your honey buns, okay? They're generally, fall down the same rabbit hole that I did. There are generally hundreds of patterns out there. Ones that are a lot more complicated and things. But I just thought I wanted to show you a couple of ideas. Right, Y seams. Give me a second. Drew, behind you, is there some little yellow templates on that chair behind you?
Yeah,
is there a diamond there? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Right, okay, I'm just going to have to gather some bits up a second. Give me a second and I'll show you Y seams. Okay. Joining diamonds without Y seams, you end up having to cut triangles, okay? You end up having to, there is a way of doing it. It's a whole tutorial on its own, to be honest. But you end up having to cut triangles, and then you put triangles together, and then that gives you a fake sort of diamond look without a Y seam. If you want to use the whole diamond, you have to do Y seams. I think this is what, who was it who asked, sorry? I can't remember now.
I think it was Jean.
Jean. So let me just cut a couple of diamonds, and you can do them by hand.
Oh, no, it was Karen. Sorry.
Karen. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, right. So let me just cut a couple of diamonds, and then I'll show you how to do them. Didn't do that very well, did I? Made a right mess of that. Okay, 2 seconds. Let me just cut this, and I'll be with you. There we go. Okay. So I've got a couple of diamonds, all right? You can do them by hand, or you can do them on the machine. So I need a pen or a pencil. See, you've thrown me because I wasn't ready for this. What you want to do is you want to mark, if you're going to do them on the machine, you want to mark a 1/4 inch line, okay? So I'm going to mark my 1/4 inch line here, okay? And it is worth marking. It's a bit time consuming, but it's worth marking. My 1/4 inch seam that way. So I've only got a pencil here, so hopefully you guys can see this. And my 1/4 inch seam that way, like that. And what you're looking for is that cross there, that point where they cross, okay? we're going to put them right sides together like this. In fact, I need a third diamond, don't I? I'll do that in a second. Okay. Actually, I do need a third diamond. Give me a second. Let me grab another little scrap of fabric. There we go. Cut a third diamond and I can show you how to put them together. Was it by machine or was it by hand you wanted to know? Just realised I'm doing machine. I don't know which way round it was you guys wanted to know. Could whoever asked just let me know, please.
Karen's thing.
Okay.
She didn't say.
Okay, well, we're going to do machine today, okay? Because if I... There we go. Okay, so I've got 3 diamonds like that now. So if you were to join these like a tumbling block, they would go like that, okay? So I know that doesn't look right at the moment because it's the 1/4 inch seam allowance, all right? So when you put them together, that's going to end up sitting, once the 1/4 inch seam allowance is in, sitting like that, all right? And this is the Y seam. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark off 1/4 inch on these. So just using my ruler, mark off 1/4 inch down there, like that, and this side, like that. And you need to know where those points are, okay? You need to know where those points there are, okay? On these little templates I've got from Craft UK, you can actually just do them with a pencil, but if you haven't got your templates, you can at least do them this way, okay? Hopefully this is what you wanted. Oh, and this side, like that. Okay, so when you put these right sides together, like that, ooh, like that, you're going to stitch from that point to, and I need a 1/4 inch on that side as well, like that, to that point. So you're not going to stitch into the seam allowance, you're going to stitch from there to there, okay? So I'm going to go over to the machine and do that. So an open toe foot is actually a good plan at this point as well, okay, because you can really see your lines. So you want to back stitch or lock stitch right on that dot, stitch down that line, that 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you want to stop on the other side on that dot, okay? You do, which I think it just went into the seam allowance a little bit, but we'll manage, okay? So that you've got your seam allowance either side there and there, okay? And you press this out, you should still be able to open out this bit here, which is what you need to be able to do, okay? So when you drop this one in, like that, you want to find the, oh, I've got to be right on the hop today, you have making me do this without thinking about it. You're going to find that point there where the 2/4 inch join, okay? Pop a pin through, ooh, like that, and where that 1/4 inch there is, like that, okay? So I've got it, where is it? There to there, all right? Like that. And I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch, I'm not going to measure it now, but 1/4 inch in from there, and I'm going to stop on that point, okay? It's really important you stop on that point, because if you go into the seam allowance, you can't get your Y seam, all right? So we're going to go over to the machine, and we're going to start on that point there. Is this what you, is the lady come back? Is Karen come back and said this is what she wanted?
She said the machine. She said sorry for turning over the cars. So I think
that's okay. That's fine. We're winging it now. There we go. Okay, so you're going to just go down from point to point like that. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. It probably wasn't the best colour scraps to choose, but so I've just gone point to point, and then you're going to open it out, and you're going to put these points together, okay? So that point there, where's my pin gone? That point there, okay, now lines up with the other side. So I'm going to pull all this out of the way, like that. I'm going to put my pin through there, so I know that that's right, okay? and then I'm going to stitch down 1/4 inch, and again it would be from this 1/4 inch point down. Okay, I haven't drawn the line, so I'm just going to wing this at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to go 1/4 inch down this side. But you never stitch in with Y seams. You never stitch into the seam allowances. You're basically always stitching 1/4 inch from the edge and finishing 1/4 inch in from the edge. Okay, there we go, and then just block that off. Okay, and then hopefully, oh no, I've done something wrong there. What have I done wrong there? That should, it's not like going to lie flat. What have I done wrong there? Oh, I've used the wrong sides. When you sew the right side of the diamonds, I've used the wrong sides of the diamonds. When you sew the right sides of the diamonds, that then lies flat. I've done the wrong side there. That was because I wasn't prepped for it. But that will then lie flat, okay? And you get your tumbling block. Oh, silly mare. Used the wrong bit, totally. But hopefully you got the idea of Y seam. That will then should lie flat when this is the right way round. I've done it on the wrong side. That one should have been up that way, and it would have worked. But that is how you do Y seams. Very, very badly. I'll do a proper tutorial for you and do all the different methods. But yeah, idiots. I can't believe I just did that. That should have been pointed up that way. Never mind. I was rushing. So hopefully you get that. Very badly done. Oh no, you keep adding on to it and you make a ball. Be fine. Yeah, that one should have been turned that way and then it would have worked. Can you see I did those two there? And if this one had been on the length rather than the narrow bit, it would have laid flat. Okay, in fact, if I just unpick that very quickly. So talk to me a second, ladies, while I find my unpicker. Talk to me, ladies. Where's my unpicker?
Maria said it was exhausting.
Exhausting?
I can say that. Just watching you.
Oh, sorry, love. I didn't mean to exhaust you.
She said she can't imagine doing a whole quilt.
What, on the postage stamp ones?
No, I think she meant that.
Oh, on this, yeah. I would admit I would probably do it by hand. Don't. Y seams. Tumbling blocks is something I like to do with this sort of thing. Diamonds is something, or much, much bigger ones. So you can do them really big. It looks amazing, and it's quite easy to do on a machine if they're a lot bigger. But this was I knew that template was beyond you. See, I put it in like that. Should have gone in like that. If it had gone in like that, it would have laid flat. But I'm not going to do it again now. But that's basically how you do it. You do it by not sewing into your seam allowances. So hopefully that vaguely helps. I'll do a proper tutorial on it in the next couple of weeks for you, and I'll show you the different methods. Okay, that was very ad hoc. Anything else there?
Sandra said, can you spray base Minty fabric?
Can you spray base Minky? You can, absolutely you can spray base Minky. It's no problem at all. It's quite stretchy, okay? So yeah, you want to be really careful when you're spray basting it. If I'm putting Minky on the back of a quilt, I tend to use the bag it out method. You know, so I put my quilt top onto wadding, I spray base that, and then I put my back in, my Minky, right sides down to right sides of my quilt top, and then I stitch along the top, and then I I don't spray base that. I've just pinned it on, do along the top, readjust it, do along the side, readjust it down the bottom, make sure it's light, and then I leave a gap in the side and pull it all through, and then just top stitch around. So I'll show you one. Oh, you're giving me lots of questions today, ladies. Lots and lots of questions today. So this one was bagged out. Okay, so it's just some Tana lawn on the front, but this one was bagged out, and then once you've bagged it out, you've pulled it all through, you then just top stitch all the way around, because I wanted it to be very loose. I didn't want any quilting on the back of this. You can absolutely quilt it though. If you look on the Gigglers page, Catherine Lum did the most amazing, with Minky on the back of baby quilts, did the most amazing quilting on there, and I think with her embroidery machine she did it, and it quilted beautifully on the back. So entirely up to you, but you can just bag it out. I tend to cheat and just bag it out, to be honest. It's quick. Any other questions there?
No.
No?
Nope.
Fab. Okay, so I I will see you all hopefully on Sunday morning if you get up and watch me at 9 o'clock on Hochanda. We've got that going on. Sarah's back tomorrow and she's going to show you lots and lots of different labels. She's going to show you her embroidery machine so you can have a see how that works. And she's going to show you how to do some printing to make your own labels and some handwork and all sorts. Okay, so I've got label making tomorrow. And then I'll be back on Monday at 1 o'clock. Do give us a shout if there's anything you want me to show you. Maybe give me a little bit more prep time than those diamonds. And then, yeah, give me a shout and we can add that into the schedule over the next few weeks. What else is going on? I think that's everything. I need to get back over the shop. I've got stuff to do. So I will love you and leave you. I will see you Sunday if you're watching Hochanda, and if not, I will see you Monday. Bye, guys.